Christopher Nowinski was a rebel in the ring and a menace on the mic.
You people should be grateful to have someone of my intelligence in your presence.
So how does somebody go from Harvard to being a WWE superstar?
There's only one who's ever done it. That was me. And it was because I took the job I was supposed to take, which was consulting for Trinity Life Sciences right up the road in Waltham. And it was fun, but the owner of the company, John Corcoran, happened to know a lot of people in wrestling, and we both talked wrestling a lot. And early on, he was like, you know what? You should try that.
The former Crimson football player had all the makings of a top draw in the wild world of pro wrestling.
Do people get hurt?
People get hurt. People get hurt a lot less than they used to, but people still get hurt.
Wrestlers can thank Nowinski in part for the decrease in injuries. While earning his PhD in neuroscience from Boston University, the Gentle Giant became a leading advocate for concussion awareness. But his path away from wrestling was anything but easy.
I had to leave that world because I got a concussion back in 2003, wrestling the Hartford Civic Center, and it gave me a headache that lasted about a decade.
This changed your life?
Yes.
Nowinski had trouble remembering what to do in the ring, putting himself and opponents in danger.
The 8th doctor that they sent me to happened to be Dr. Robert Cantu in Concord, and he was the guy who first gave me the diagnosis that changed my life, which was you've had too many concussions and you never took time off. And so I ended up doing a bunch of research, writing a book called Head Games Football's Concussion Crisis in 2006 that said, look, we should do things differently. And at first no one listened, but eventually they did.
Those changes set in motion after a tragedy for the wrestling world.
Chris Benoit didn't show up to a show, and they went to his house and found he had taken the life of his wife, his 7-year-old son, and himself. And he had confided in me while I was writing my book that he was concerned about his concussions and he'd had more than he could count.
It was then that Nowinski co-founded the Concussion Legacy Foundation, analyzing the brains of athletes who had suffered head trauma and making strides in the study of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE.
The happy ending to this story is that in 2012, WWE came back to me and said, we didn't appreciate this disease back in 2007, and would you come in and actually start teaching us about it? And so for more than a decade, I've been going to WWE every year with an open invitation to teach them what we're learning about concussions and CTE, to arm them with the information to make the safest choices they can in the ring.
But when it comes to other sports leagues, Nowinski says it can be an uphill battle.
The NFL recognizes CTE as a consequence of playing football, but yet they still recruit children to the sport. So there's still a conflict there. Right now we're focused on trying to get the NHL to recognize that their game gives their players CT, and they still refuse, even though 18 of the 19 that we've studied at Boston University have had CT.
Despite his injuries, Nowinski looks back fondly on his days in the squared circle.
Like, just imagine you sort of join the circus with like 100 of the most interesting, entertaining people in the world, just traveling the world as a little club, putting on shows. And it's all these people you grew up watching who are your heroes, and you get to know them personally, and it's just like, it was just so much fun.
After all, you can take the wrestler out of the ring, but not the wrestler out of the man.
You played an egocentric villain in WWE. How much of that was just a character, or how much of that is actually you?
You should just be very happy that you've had the chance to be in the presence of a real Harvard graduate for 20 minutes who paid attention to your questions, which were okay. But you did a very nice job for you, so you should be very proud of yourself.
You did much better than that.
Thank you.
Now, we did reach out to both the NHL and the NFL to get their response to Chris Nowinski's comments.
We did not hear back from the NHL. The NFL issued a statement that reads in part, player health and safety is the NFL's highest priority, and the league has made continued progress to make the game of football safer including by implementing strategies to reduce concussions and remove head impacts from the game. The league seeks to promote a culture of safety across all levels of the sport and is committed to sharing findings on the latest advancements in equipment, rule changes, scientific research, and protocols.
And we'll post the full statement on our website.